Hey guys, Jason. And the Winklevoss twins are at it again. Now, about a year ago we had heard the Winklevoss twins were trying to start a fund selling bitcoins through the Nasdaq or some kind of financial institution, but they weren't very descriptive of how they were going to do that. Well, today we got a huge insight on what's going on. So I want to break this down and explain to the average user and explain to even the technical user what's going on in this situation. So it will be traded on the Nasdaq OMX, and it will have the ticker COIN, all caps, which is kind of interesting. Nobody really knew what the ticker would be. Some were, there were a lot of names floating around in the Bitcoin community, but we now have an official name of an official SEC document, and it's COIN. So let's get into some information. The name on the financial documents was the Winklevoss Bitcoin Trust, which was a name that was already floating around here recently, so we kind of assumed that's what would be on the official documents. Now, one thing that we weren't sure about was how many shares were going to be issued on this exchange or on this trust or fund. We weren't really sure, and now the official documents are out, we kind of have the information. There will be 1 million shares offered in this IPO. So you might ask, well, what's some information regarding this IPO? And I have it. Now, remember when the SEC and you file paperwork to the SEC, sometimes it's kind of vague, so bear with me. Now, the maximum price that they can charge at their IPO is $20.09 for a share. Now you might ask me, well, what does a share represent? A share represents 0.2 bitcoins. Okay, so at 1 million shares and at $20.09 at max a share, that equals out to about $20,090,000 that this trust will have. Now, you might be asking if you're a smart person or if you're just inquisitive. You might say, well, Jason, that doesn't add up right. That would mean that the current price of Bitcoin, by these calculations, would put the Bitcoin price at about $200. Well, you're right. It actually puts it at $200.90. So you might ask yourself, well, why would they release an IPO with a lower price? Well, what I'm assuming happened, and I don't have any backing to, basis on, but this is from historical other IPOs. They probably had the money in the trust ready to go about a year ago when Bitcoin's price was a lot lower, around the $200 range. And so what probably happened is the money was already in an account, and they probably already got private investors to buy up packets or buckets of these IPO shares. And the idea is then, so you own those shares when it goes to IPO, and so not only are the Winklevoss twins selling these things on at the IPO, they also have other investors who want to sell at the IPO as well. And you'll find now, if you do this with any other type of stock, that to have shares at the beginning of it, before an IPO, you have to be very, very wealthy. And I don't mean like, I'm talking at least $1 million. So we're looking at someone that maybe has a 5% or more ownership in this trust, if that even happens. But we are assuming that's a possibility with how the prices are accumulated at current day pricing. So what that will mean is when this goes on market, first of all, $20,090,000 is a lot of money. And what's going to happen is, so currently when this thing hits IPO, it's going to be the equivalent of Bitcoin being $200. Well, Bitcoin's currently at 640. So what will happen is this $20 million will be liquidated, and so will this, and it's a various process, but basically people will go against each exchange, and slowly these prices will kind of even out. And because Bitcoin has a $7 billion market cap, and this fund only has a $20 million market cap, you're going to notice that it's going to probably pull the Bitcoin price down just a little bit, but also the fund's price will go up. Nobody really knows what that will cause the price to do. It's kind of anyone's guess. It also kind of varies as well on, does the Winklevoss twins own 100% of this trust and of the IPO shares, or have they already pre-sold those to private individuals that have large ownership? And that we do not know. But I've read about this. I've read the financial document completely through, which some of it can get kind of boring, but that's basically all the data that I have right now. We'll find probably more out as we get closer to the IPO. But really, the average Bitcoiner isn't going to be buying Bitcoins through this. And at $20 a share, you might ask yourself, well, who's going to be buying these? And it's going to be people that have money in stocks, in bonds, but they don't like going through all the hurdles like Coinbase and all of these other less trustworthy, like Cryptsy and stuff, exchanges. they're going to want to go through an actual, Nasdaq exchange, which this trust will offer. And I think that's going to bring in a lot more wealthier people. But keep in mind, with a $20 million market cap of this coin, you're not going to really, or not coin, I don't want to call it a coin, it's the trust that representing the Bitcoin. But at $20 million market cap, you're not going to have that much influx of interest. You might. You might, but I can't see it being that big. But maybe I'm wrong, because, I mean, look at all the different sources adding Bitcoin nowadays. It's pretty crazy. I just did a video, Newegg has added Bitcoin. You can buy things with Bitcoin. So, really, when you make predictions, they can be completely off because of the craziness of the Bitcoin realm. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to update you guys on the trust. I know a lot of people have talked about this in the last year, and there was new information came out today, so I wanted to do a video. I hope I informed you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.